This is the Bears Barroom Radio Network. The following program is recorded live and intended for all audiences.
Radio is scripted now. We just come up with it. We don't use computers. We don't rehearse. We're going to talk about this next. We're going to talk about them. We're going to talk about the Bulls. And then we're going to have Brad Big Son. And then we're going to have all this. No. If you don't know what you're going to talk about in the top of your head before a show, you shouldn't be in the business. I don't know what you got. I feel like Vince Vaughn in a couples retreat. The Sharks are circling. Old school, baby.
You're listening to the Mike North Advantage, and it begins right now.
That's right. The Mike North Advantage starts right now. I am Aldo Gandia, Mike's wingman, and it is Super Bowl week. You know what that means. Lots of gambling talk, lots of football talk. Tom Brady, the 43-year-old versus the 25-year-old Patrick Mahomes. We're going to talk about prop bets. We're going to talk about the game. And, of course, we're going to talk about the Chicago Bears rumor mill with everybody coming into town to play quarterback for the Bears. We'll get Mike's opinion on who it could be and who it should be. And there's only one way to find out, right? Let's bring Mike in now. Mike North, how are you, my friend?
Always filled with hijinks, always having the time of my life, always having fun with props, always doing what I got to do to make people think things. I will tell you this, Aldo, I love the video. I love we're on. I think it's great. It's a great invasion of privacy. There's no doubt about it.
That's right. When you're home.
When you're home. But you know what? We got Super Bowl week coming up. We got odds. We got this. We got that. It's going to be an exciting week. I know we're going to have a Super Bowl show today. I have a Super Bowl show coming up on Friday on the Odds Couple on AM 1000. I'll be available on Twitter at North to North, as you will. Bears Barroom will be active. I mean, right from the get-go. And I'm pleased to announce we're going to have, I wanted to announce it here first.
Cool.
I'm going to be involved with a company called Win Daily Sports, windailysports.com. Check them at Win Daily Sports on Twitter. They're also going to, they bought a spot on the show. So it's all good.
Yeah, baby.
Yes. So we appreciate that very much, and we're ready to go.
Outstanding. Wow. Yeah. We got the sponsors coming in. We got the Mike North Advantage thriving here on the Barroom Network.
Yeah, we had a pretty good debut last week on video. I appreciate that. Appreciate everybody that's been listening. And, before with the audio. But, I was watching everybody else doing it. And then one day I said, Aldo had been asking me a couple times before. And I said, okay, we will. And we've never really talked about it. We were happy just to be alive and to be on and to be able to do what we do. But, I mean, I love this. I mean, this is beautiful. It's like Bonanza. When you were a kid.
We're actually in Pappyland. We're at the Mike North home right now.
Decorated beautifully, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. You got some great memorabilia in that office. I've been there. You got some really cool stuff. Maybe one of these days we'll show off some of that stuff.
Yeah, I'll take the pictures off the wall and put them up like this.
There you go.
Yeah, we got a lot of great stuff throughout the basement and everything else. I was living in Park Ridge. Now I live west of Chicago, which is outstanding. And we're having a good time. And you know what? Nothing's been better than what we're doing now. Nothing. I have so much fun doing this show. We're going to have a lot of other announcements coming up. It's going to be awesome.
Merv says he loves the video, but the only problem is he can't see your hair today. You got the hat. There it is. Beautiful.
Look like an ostrich in heat.
An ostrich in heat.
Right. The only thing that comes up is the hair. Other than that, the ostrich goes, I got to run. There's a lion coming.
I love it. I love it. All right, Mike, before we get started about this upcoming Super Bowl, let's talk about the Chicago Bears and this whole quarterback stuff that is happening. There's talk now about Derek Carr being on their trade block. There's talk about Jameis Winston, the Bears potentially talking to the Saints, or no, not talking to his agent because he's going to be a free agent at the end of this football calendar year, which is March. Right. What are your thoughts? Let's start with Derek Carr, the Raiders quarterback. What are your thoughts about him?
My thoughts are I don't see him much in the playoffs. He's been playing for a losing organization. He's played under a bunch of different people, including now John Gruden. I think you're just robbing from Peter to give the Paul. I mean, what's it going to cost us to get him? We got a quarterback. I'm going to keep saying it. He's not the best in the world. He's not the worst in the world. But if we beef up other parts of our football team, I think that we can be viable in the playoffs next year and the year after that with the guy we got now. Because I'm hearing Foles may be the starter. I mean, this is all terrifying stuff. Jameis Winston, I've said they should have a turnover, an Apple turnover, named after him at Baker Square, because this guy does nothing but turn the football over. Besides the fact he didn't even win the second quarterbacking job in New Orleans. This is sort of like Foles 2. You know, let's pull a guy that we think we can do something with that might fit me, Nagy, as my offensive coordinator, as the offensive coordinator. I just think that if we give up draft picks, if we give up firstborn, if we give up all pros, I mean, when we got a guy that's developing, had it stopped and then started again, tasted some success along with the team that loves him, I think you got to play him one more year. I think the puzzling thing is, and you know our buddy Jeff Schwartz, he called me about 2 days ago, and he says to me, how come ESPN is talking about everybody else, every quarterback, but I don't hear nothing about Trubisky? I said, I was thinking the same thing. Now, he's out there, though, in California.
Right.
So he watches ESPN, and he wants any news on Chicago. Oh, Watson's going here, and Winston. It's like the hokey pokey. Put your one quarterback here, put your one quarterback there, and twirl them all around. You do the quarterback hokey pokey, yeah, whatever. And I mean, it's serious. I mean, I'm hearing people I thought were out of the league. Mariota, I mean, just basically are one step out of the league that are going to come here and turn us into the Houston Texans. If Watson came here for what they want for him, I used to like Watson. I don't like him anymore. I don't like him. You ain't that good, pal. You ain't that good. 2 firsts, two defensive players, 2 seconds. You're not that good, and I loved you. I don't love you anymore. I'll stick with Trubisky. Keep our draft picks, build the football team.
Yeah, I agree with you. What they are talking about in return for Deshaun Watson is the Bears, at the minimum, trading 2 first-round draft picks, 2 second-round draft picks, and 2 young defensive starters, guys like Roquan Smith, guys like the cornerback Jalen Johnson, guys like Eddie Jackson, although Eddie Jackson might not be a good guy, might not be a bad guy.
I think we made the playoffs. I know it was one of those weird years, but hey, we did what we had to do. I think that just pulled. I mean, who's going to be in trouble? The Rams. They're going to be in trouble. If I hear any more West Coast people say the Rams won that deal, I'm going to scream. Are you kidding me? The Rams didn't win that deal. The Detroit Lions, for once in 50, 60 years, won something. They won that deal. You got a quarterback in Goff who all of a sudden sucks. He's been to 11 postseason games. How old is he? 11? 6-5. In a Super Bowl. And they go and they give up everything over the ego of a coach who didn't throw long anymore because they adjusted to that and made Goff look ordinary by throwing underneath. Now you're going back to Stafford, 0-3 in the playoffs. And this was the year. What has he ever done? Has he ever lifted his team? He's got a bunch of fourth quarter comebacks. That's like me in the last month of school, trying to really finally getting it together, trying to win, and I don't win. The nun says you're being held back again. Okay. So I'm just trying to figure out how the Lions won this. It's Super Bowl or bust for the Rams. And by the way, let me ask everybody this. Aldo, you seem to know what you're doing. You know your football. We knew what happened when Akeem Hicks got hurt with the Packers. We got our butts kicked. Okay. How about Aaron Donald, that last game against Packers? You got Aaron Donald with 1 tackle. He played 1 every 6-7 plays. And then you have Cooper Kupp, who's one of the top 5 receivers in football, 92 catches.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't play. So you took away Goff's number 1 weapon.
Mm-hmm.
You're playing at Green Bay against Aaron Rodgers. And Aaron Donald made one more tackle than I would have made him at 195 pounds playing defensive tackle. One more.
He was injured. Yeah, he played only limited snaps because of his injury.
You're two arguably your best player on offense, your best player on defense. Gone. Mm-hmm. And then everybody blaming Goff. Sounds familiar. Sounds familiar.
Yeah, these young whippersnapper coaches like to find blame in their young quarterbacks.
Oh.
And there was a guy, I think his name is Tannenbaum, is a former general manager on ESPN. Mike Tannenbaum. Yeah, he said, this is a really bad reflection on Sean McVay, because a little over a year ago, he said, yeah, let's sign Jared Goff to a multi-year contract, the biggest contract ever for a quarterback. And now he's saying, yeah, let's trade him. So it's like, wow, what? You're changing your mind pretty quickly there.
Yeah, I mean, I can't. How can I get mad at anybody that gets rid of Trubisky? Mm-hmm. I'm going to be mad if Trubisky goes, but when I see the other quarterbacks that are going, and I see how cost efficient Trubisky's been, and he's delivered as much as any of these guys, in a lot of ways. And then I hear the Stafford nonsense that he's got 200 some touchdowns and 144 interceptions. Wait a minute. In today's game, a 2-to-1 ratio is horrible. It's horrible. Mm-hmm. He's thrown some. Look, I bet the Lions. It's no fun. It's basically going, you got a great meal coming. It's vomit on the side of the road. Go eat it. I mean, seriously, it's horrifying. It's horrifying. And I know, and I've seen him gunsling his way back and look impressive, and that's what you're supposed to do now. But isn't it funny we're watching a guy that's 43 years old at the Super Bowl named Tom Brady, who doesn't have, that still can throw a touch under the ball, still can wheel and deal, still can sidestep and deliver. He just knows how to win. Oh, he had 3 interceptions. Yeah, but he had 3 touchdowns. They don't win without the 3 touchdowns. The 2 of those interceptions are deep. Mm-hmm. They're like punts. The guy knows how to play football. He's a quarterback that actually knows how to play the game and succeed at it without being gaudy.
So everyone is talking now was these championships with the New England Patriots, was it due more to Tom Brady or the head coach Bill Belichick?
Man, Amendola just lit up Belichick.
You saw that?
The Patriot way is Tom Brady, and you can't argue it. I mean, I'm sure there was decisions made, and I'm sure both sides wanted out. Nobody's ever made it clear. It seems like Tom Brady wanted out, and I don't expect the team to bounce back after that kind of loss. The Bears have had Sig Gluckman. It's been 60 some years. We're still trying to find somebody. So I don't expect that. But I'm hearing Mitch Trubisky to Denver. I'm hearing Mitch Trubisky to Dallas, which is something I've called that I think would be just as good than Prescott, because Prescott's had some injuries already. And I think to me, Stafford should have gone to Dallas. That would have been awesome. The pressure on him in LA is going to be unbelievable. The pressure on the Bears to follow Mitch and what he did, regardless of what the media thinks, to bring the Bears back is going to be tough for any quarterback next year. Any quarterback.
Yeah. You know what's interesting about the Patriots, because you're right. I think it was a mutual parting of the ways. Tom wanted to prove that he could win without Bill Belichick, and Bill Belichick probably felt, Tom is getting older, but the Patriots just didn't do a good job of planning for his departure. I mean, the 2 guys that they've drafted at quarterback over the last several years, their names are hard to pronounce because they're obscure players.
Well, they had Jimmy G.
They did have Jimmy G, and the only reason apparently they got rid of him was because he was coming into a contract year, and the Patriots felt they weren't going to be able to afford him. But they could have probably traded Jimmy G at a better time. Look at this guy setting up his camera.
I got more chin. I got more chins in a stable full of horses. It's ridiculous.
You look good, though. You look good.
I'm trying to drop it, but you know what? I mean, it's the curse of the Irishman. If I'm Italian, I'm half Italian, half Irish. If I'm full Italian, I'm jet jawed, you know. But the Irish, pulled me down a little bit. Except if you're Tom Brady.
Yeah.
My mother goes, Tom Brady's really good, isn't he? She's starting to, because she listens to the shows and stuff. I'm going, yeah, Mom, he's good. She goes, let me ask you a question. Who is this Giselle Bundchen? I go, she's a famous model. She goes, I've never seen a magazine about her. I go, well, maybe she wasn't the cover girl of Frontier Weekly. I have no idea, you know. You know,
he wasn't like,
says, she's worth more than he is? I go, yes, I do. And she's a beautiful woman.
Yeah, which is probably why Tom Brady always would defer some of his salary, because he said, you know, my wife makes so much money and so forth. And that's one of the things I like about Tom Brady. I was saying this on a show last night, is that he has worked with the team in terms of reducing his salary so that they could afford, you know, good players around them. That, to me, is the mark of a guy who desperately wants to win at any cost, even if it costs him $1 million or $2 million.
You know what the mark of a fan like us is, basically? That we wear shirts that say Super Bowl 20 and the printing is faded. It's been so long.
That's right.
I've washed it 3,000 times, and it's still hanging in there like the old 85 team. But we need something soon so we can get some new shirts.
That's right. I am, for those of you listening in the audio podcast, I am wearing my Super Bowl 20 t-shirt. And then I've also got my Super Bowl, 41 Bears hat from the Colts game in the Super Bowl. So I'm representing Super Bowl and the Bears. When do you think the Bears are going to honestly get back to the Super Bowl? When?
2048.
We'll be
Let me tell you, if they get rid of Mitch, there's no automatic. Aaron Rodgers is still going to be at Green Bay next year. And we're going to have a quarterback that's a lateral move that really is going to compete against Aaron Rodgers. We're going to bring somebody in that's actually, after giving up a couple of defensive players and stuff, we're going to compete against them. I want people to think. Give it one more year. Give it one more year. Believe me, if you don't and you just let everything go, I mean, Nagy, don't think he doesn't pay attention. He sees what McVay's doing. You know, he sees, oh, maybe I can do this too. Yes. Yeah. And then last week, how about the charade? They show up Andy Reid like this, right? And Bieniemy's next to him like this. Okay. Only one of you is calling the plays. I know you wanted it for a picture like Bieniemy's calling the plays. Oh, look at that play. Yeah, look at the two of them. I don't care. If I'm buying the meal, the four of them could look at the menu, okay? I'm paying. So at the end of the day, I set the limit. Come on. We're looking at a Denny's menu. Did you see that?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, that's always been the mystery there. Although I know one thing, that Andy Reid.
Where did I go? I sat back and I disappeared on the light.
I lost you there for
all right. Whoa.
I thought you disappeared for a second. Look at this guy.
I'm the old baseball coach with this hat on. Come on now. Back today. Come on, put it down now. Put that bunt down. And somebody's going, what's a bunt?
You look a little like Walter Matthau and the Bad News Bears.
Oh, yeah. Come on now. Come on, Jimmy. Come on, give us something now. Sacrifice. What's a sacrifice? You know?
So I asked people in the chat room, you know, do you think it's over for Mitch in Chicago? And Ron says, I don't think it has to be over for Mitch. I don't think he will take a short-term deal with the Bears. He needs a better head coach. And then Merv says, I want Mitch back, which is
there
what
you know. You know, if you the Mia for the most part is back in anybody else because they already put in with Foles. That, let's face it, we were here. I know the cast of characters. I know them all. And I just think that he doesn't have a lot of support here except by the fans. I think it's about 50-50. I think there's a split with Bear fans, whether you want Mitch back or not. I don't think it's a done deal either way. Believe me. As far as wanting him back or not. So I want him back. I don't think a year. I don't want to bring somebody else's garbage in. I don't. I hate that. You you ever have somebody say, would you like this for your home? And it's in their home?
Mm-hmm.
No, I wouldn't. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Wouldn't look good in my home. I think Mitch for one more year looks good. In-house guy. And maybe, just maybe, we catch lightning in a bottle. Because Baker Mayfield, last year, they wanted them driven to the airport. And I just wonder how the Rams, I think in any other market besides LA, this would have been a bigger deal. The golf thing.
Yeah.
Stafford, But they got that new stadium out there. And look at Faiz says, I want Mitch back too. See, I don't know if you're seeing correct numbers put out by certain members of the swamp media that because it's them that don't want Mitch more than anybody. More than anybody. I still see polls. How much would you give up to get Watson? Who Mitch beat 36-7? How much would you give up to get Matthew Stafford? Wait a minute. Mitch was 5-2 against him. Where am I missing here? I mean, seriously, I've been doing this for 30 years. What am I missing? Well, really 29. It will be 30th next year. We're going to have a big celebration. Yeah. A lot of stuff going on. We've only scratched the surface. So what has Mitch done wrong to people besides not be Patrick Mahomes, which nobody is? What has Mitch done wrong with the stats that he has, with the history of the Bears having no way? I mean, we're looking at Cutler too if we bring somebody in. We're going to spend a lot of money. We're going to lose players and draft picks, and we're going to be stuck in mediocrity, period. I've seen this act before.
Yeah, Faiz says, give Mitch a 2-year deal, build the offensive line, and get him some weapons.
Look at Mayfield. 21 interceptions last year. Now they made it to the playoffs. That's tough to do when you haven't made it for 5 decades. When people talk about Sid Luckman, wow, what a joke that is. Otto Graham's the best quarterback Cleveland ever had. He won he went to the 10 championship games in 10 years and won 7 of them. So I heard Peter King say this. If you're going to start talking about greatest quarterbacks of all time, do your history. It better start, listen to this, with Otto Graham. And how many fans even know who Otto Graham is?
I don't know what an autogram is. Is it like a car, a German car?
It's a cracker. The German cracker.
Roy says that Nagy just wants a shiny new toy at quarterback, and I think there's some truth to that. I don't think Nagy wants Trubisky back, and he's like shopping right now, trying to find a new quarterback.
I got to tell you something. This has been the most amazing offseason so far of my Bear life. My Bear life started at conception. Okay? When I came out of my mother's room, she swears she heard me say, "Don't trade the draft pick." I mean, screaming, "Don't trade the draft pick." I knew Bear football. This has been the most amazing season. It's put people that a lot of them who I respect look bad. I mean, just with their selections, who they want. I mean, there's one thing. Look, I know what it's like to build a talk show audience, but to be ridiculous isn't helping. It really isn't. I mean, to sound ridiculous, like, what would you give up? And 50-60% of the Bear fans would give up half the team for Deshaun Watson, who we beat by 30. It's a lot. It's about wins with me. That's what it is.
Right. All right. Let's talk a little bit about
my whole face getting in here. Or is it
well, you look. It's what they call an extreme close-up. You look good, man. You look good. How old are you now? 47?
Let me tell you something. I'm old enough to win any time slot any day. Okay. You play that little age game with me. I don't get mad about that. Just let me sit in for a week, okay? Don't play the nonsense age game. I don't like the age game because, well, Tom Brady's how old? 43?
47. You look like you're 47.
I'm I'm 68.
68. Get out of town. Look at this guy here, 68. Holy I don't even have 68 follicles left.
I look like Randy Hundley after a doubleheader.
KY fan has a question for us. Do you guys actually believe Trubisky is better than Watson? I don't think anybody said that.
No, all I said is when Trubisky matches up against Stafford and Watson, he wins. I don't know what else I can say. It's an actual fact. I mean, do you honestly believe? Because anybody, and this was really played lightly by the media, that Trubisky beat his ass and that team's ass, and the Bears beat their butts. They came to play for Mitch that day. They came to embarrass Watson and that team. And I don't want to hear, well, Watson's got nobody. Well, Mitch has played with nobody for 3 years. Okay. And they whipped his ass. That's a fact.
Yeah.
It's a fact. That's all. And if Watson would have beaten him, do you know how much the drum would be beating now? We want a guy that we beat by 30. Can you imagine if he would have won? They might want to give him half the franchise, these knuckleheads.
Yep. I agree. I mean, now we know that, a quarterback's talent doesn't necessarily mean you're going to win or lose the game. It's a team. You got 11 guys out there on offense, 11 guys on defense, 11 guys on special teams. You got a 52-man roster. It takes a team to win. But the quarterback has a huge role, turnovers, managing the game.
Except if you're Jay Cutler. He was allowed to go 1-14 or 2-13 against the Packers, and he get a pass. Let's sign him again.
KY is insisting that Deshaun Watson, that doesn't change the fact that Watson isn't the better option long-term if we can get him. And I think what he meant.
Giving up too much for him.
That's the problem.
The guy won 4 games. You can't, I'm sorry. I love Watson. And he signed that deal after they traded Hopkins. And he was up there crying and happy. And the first sign of trouble, he wants out. So what's going to stop that from happening down the road with somebody else? I don't think the Bears have a shot at getting him. Yeah. Put that pipe dream out of your head. Give me another option, folks. Give me another option. Write down now. Put down who you want, because Elder will be, he'll tell you. Stafford's gone. He signed. Goff is signed. Watson, let's say we're not going to get Watson. Let's just pretend that we're actually smart for 5 minutes. We're not getting him, okay? The Bear, and here's another thing. Watson, Mahomes, and Trubisky. Can I tell you something? They're like this. They're buddies. You don't think they've seen what's happened to Mitch and what they did to him? You think they want to come with this organization?
Yeah.
Watson would go and sign with a team that ignored him? I know what I would do, okay? And I've been in a position where I could have left the station. I could have left the score a couple of years before I did. I was offered big money. But they wanted just me. And I said no. And plus Danny Lee was there. I said no. And we went back and got more money. I know where you got it good. I think we got it good with Mitch. I think robbing from Peter to give to Paul is a mistake. And I know Watson's great. I wanted him. We didn't get him. It's time to let that stuff go, folks.
Q from Cincy says, thank God Cincinnati Bengals don't have these issues. Yeah, but you just got to hope that Joe Burrow comes back and is the quarterback that, he was before and continues to improve. He
was doing okay. But, I mean, you don't have issues in Cincinnati, Q? Come on now. Come on now, Q. You got issues. The kid's going to work hard. I'm rooting for Joe Burrow. My good friend Andy Furman lives out. It lives in Cincinnati. Lives in the Kentucky area there. And when I did my show on Fox with him, it was miserable because he's a Cincinnati guy,
Right.
And but we were in the same boat basically. But we've had more success than them. But that Joe Burrow's got a lot of weight on his shoulders. They really, really do. But I know he's a good quarterback, and I wish him nothing but the best. But don't say you don't have any issues.
Yeah,
Giovanni Bernard's still with the team. He played with Paul Brown when Paul Brown coached. The guy's like 70. He's running up the middle for 3 yards.
I do think that the Bengals, give them 2-3 years. I think they're going to be the Steelers are on their way down and out. The Cleveland Browns, I'm still not totally convinced on
they
them.
got a good team around them. They finally put a team around them, though. That's what I want the Bears to do with Mitch. Continue to build around him like they built around Mayfield. Mayfield and Mitch are basically the two same guys.
Mm-hmm.
They really are. Look at that. I mean, Mayfield's more of a gunslinger, but he makes mistakes big time. 21 interceptions last year. I don't think Mitch has ever thrown 21 interceptions in a season. Come on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And he only threw 22 touchdowns that year.
Mm-hmm.
I'm on my game today, aren't I?
You're always on your game.
Happened.
You're always
you always look a little surprised when I pull out these statistics.
Hey, I want to get back to the topic of Jameis Winston because I was looking over some of his stats and so forth. Yeah, the guy has thrown, a record amount of touchdowns in his limited time in the NFL. But man, he maybe a year with the Saints and working under Drew Brees and Sean Payton, maybe he can be a better quarterback. We know he can throw touchdown passes. We know he has a strong arm. These are highlights from his last year with Tampa Bay. He had 31 touchdown passes, unfortunately 33 interceptions. But do you think there's any way to salvage Jameis Winston? He will come at no cost, just a free agency contract that he would sign. Any inkling at all? Perhaps maybe Jameis Winston?
No, he's a turnover machine. I mean, that's just the way it is. He'll take you to a certain point. I got to be straight up. There's plays he looks unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's plays you go, is that Andre Ware or Cade McNown? He's 50% unbelievable quarterback, and he's 50% dog crap. I mean, that's just the way he is. And that's the way he's always going to be. I would never mortgage my future. I wouldn't even care. I wouldn't spend $10 on Jameis Winston. I just wouldn't. And I'm sorry, he didn't beat out a receiver in New Orleans, Taysom Hill. A receiver actually beat him out. I don't know if it was a fair process. I'm not going to cast aspersions on the gentleman, but he's had some shots. And I think the proof of the pudding is Tom Brady replaced him, and look what happened. Now, would that have happened with somebody else? Maybe not.
Yeah.
For instance, I think Matthew Stafford, if he went to Tampa Bay this year, I don't think they'd be in the finals. I don't.
Really? You don't, huh?
See, this is where you look at the winners.
Mm-hmm.
He would have done something to screw that team up. He would have done something. Brady does enough to win, knows how to win. And like I told everybody last week, I don't give a damn if they were getting points, Tampa Bay, and then Green Bay was the favorite. But I told everybody, I go, I wonder if when Rodgers runs out of the tunnel and he looks across the field and he sees a 9-time Super Bowl quarterback and 14-time conference quarterback, championship quarterback, and a guy that epitomizes the greatest of all time, I wonder if he really thinks he's the favorite in this football game. He wasn't. His head told him that. There's Tom Brady. And I don't know who everybody wanted to see. If you wanted to see Rodgers against Mahomes, I guarantee you, it's easier for me to say Kansas City would have won that game than them against Tampa Bay.
But in that NFC championship game, conference championship game, Brady threw 3 consecutive interceptions.
Yes.
This was about the Packers blowing it more than Brady winning it, in my opinion.
I agree. Brady did enough, but the great Aaron Rodgers had a bad game. I'm sorry. He did. He did not, even against the Rams. I think the Rams defense let him down, but Rodgers, when he got chased down in the first quarter by the linemen, you can be tight. Mentally, you can be tight arm-wise, like shooting a free throw. You've been at the line when you needed it. You don't have that same fluid motion because you got in your mind, I got to make this free throw in the last second of the game. The last play when he could have run for the touchdown, maybe. Okay? He just tightened up at certain spots and said, I'd rather try to beat Tom Brady than be Aaron Rodgers and run for the goal line.
True, very true. All right, let's talk about this upcoming game. What's your gut feel right now? I know you probably haven't charted it, and you'll probably announce, where to go on your ESPN show, the odds couple with Carmen DeFalcon, DeFalco, excuse me, on Friday nights on ESPN 1000 here in Chicago and available all over the world through the internet. But what's your gut feel about how this game is going to play out? And then we'll talk about some of the prop bets that we could have some fun with.
I like so far, I haven't charted the game, and maybe I'll be surprised as hell because that happens to me a lot. Like, for instance, I was surprised my system gave me Oklahoma City the other night, and I lost by 30. Okay, It doesn't. Oh, my God. Listen to this. Houston plays Oklahoma City +5. I'm getting 5.5 at home. They shoot a record 12 threes in the first quarter. I was down like 30 already, you know? I was asking B where the bullets were for the revolver. You know what I mean? I mean, seriously. And she goes, well, she says it's the NBA. You'll be able to come back. I go, Oklahoma City could beat Notre Dame Prep, where I used to coach. Believe me when I tell you this. That being said, Tom Brady is not Oklahoma City. I lean towards Tom Brady. I believe in Tom Brady. I think all the talk is being about what Mahomes is going to do to the Todd Bowles defense. And you know what nobody's talking about? Well, what's Brady going to do against Kansas City's defense? We're hearing Tyreek Hill's going to do this. We're hearing the tight end's going to do that. We're hearing Mahomes, the over-under is 31.5 for running. You know, we're hearing, Reed's going to be looking with the enemy at the thing. They go, we don't hear nothing about Gronk. We don't hear nothing about Scotty Miller. We don't hear nothing about some of these other players that I think are going to be huge factors. Gronkowski had 1 reception for 19 yards, but it was huge. I think he's coming back with a bigger game, considering the quarterback, the tight end, Kansas City's considered right now the best in the game. I think he's going to have a big game. I think Kansas City could get burned by the tight end like they burn everybody else. I mean, as far as talent's concerned, they got to figure out a way to stop Tyreek Hill. And, we talk about prop bets and stuff like that. I mean, I'm seeing a prop bet, and I think a lot of people like the under in this, and I sort of did, but maybe I'm starting to like the over. Mahomes, 31.5 rushing yards in the game. People thinking Tampa Bay is going to keep an eye on him. He had the concussion 2 weeks ago. He's got the turf toast. And I'm saying, okay, but this is the last game of the season. This is for all the marbles.
Good point.
If anybody can run for over 31 yards in a game, it's going to be him. And if they do a good enough job in the secondary, and people are going, God, does Mike just wake up and know this stuff? No, folks, this is research, okay? Antonio Winfield, I think, is going to be back. Their secondary's good. So when your secondary's good, but you got a quarterback like him that can run, you think he gives a rat's Rudy Tooty? If he runs and, gets a little up, he gets up. The thing that I want everybody to realize, though, when Mahomes, you think, I hear nonsense. Is he the greatest quarterback already who's ever lived? No, he's not. Okay. Is Aaron Rodgers the greatest? No, he's playing against the greatest quarterback who's ever lived. And it's about survival. If Mahomes already has 1 concussion in his 3rd year, like Troy Aikman did, and then all of a sudden, the next time he gets hit, whether you get hit in the side and your head moves like this, or you get hit in the head, it's easier to get another one. So, in my opinion, I don't think Mahomes will play long enough. It still could be 9, 10, 11, 12 years, but his style of play someday, I think, is going to put him on the shelf. He's already got a concussion. He's already starting to get nagging injuries, and he's only in his 3rd year. But, hey, if he cashes 3-4 in 7, 8, 9 years, and that's a big if, it's hard to win the Super Bowl, then he'll always be considered an all-time great. I think if he quit tomorrow, he's a Hall of Famer. Don't you?
Really? That's interesting that you bring that up because I was thinking about that too. We know, of course, that Tom Brady is a first ballot Hall of Famer. In fact, as soon as he retires, they won't work. Yeah, right. They won't wait the 5 years on Brady. They'll put him in immediately after he says, "I'm done."
Come on. They did it with Clemente. Clemente got killed in the plane crash. God
That's
bless
right.
him.
That's right.
Aldo, of course, I am a friend of the Puerto Ricans. Everybody, it's on my business card. But Aldo, of course,
Boricua.
Exactly, and I'll have a side dish also. But I've been in all neighborhoods. I've had all friends of all ethnicities. I know a ton about Roberto Clemente.
Mhm.
Here's what I do know: he got his 3,000 hit the last day of the season, and he flew in that plane. Not a fine judge of what kind of plane to fly in. Little overweight. As far as the stuff they were bringing, didn't make it, but they put him right in. They put him right in the Hall of Fame right after that, deservedly so.
Yeah. Well, Brady, whether he's alive or dead, is getting
Does
in
a
it.
Puerto Rican man have a statue of Roberto Clemente? Does every household have that?
Oh,
One
yeah.
of Jesus, one of Christ, a picture of Christ, and then somewhere there's got to be a statue, maybe a picture, maybe a pamphlet, maybe a media guide with Roberto Clemente. Am I right?
And in our home, we also had a picture of John F. Kennedy, el primer presidente católico, the first Catholic president.
That's right. Oh, my grandmother, Leona, all the Catholics in my family, the Italians. It's like Elvis would walk out. Oh, my God, he's a Catholic. I go, how come the girl? I'm a Catholic. I introduce myself to people. Nobody wants to talk to me. What's the problem over here?
That's hilarious.
Boy, Kennedy was smooth too.
But you think Mahomes is definite for Hall of Fame induction?
Let me ask you a question. Okay. If he wins tomorrow and then he decides, you know what? Mm-hmm. I got another concussion late in the game. We won 42-3 against Tampa Bay. Mm-hmm. I'm going to be owning teams. I own part of this team already. I want to have a healthy lifestyle for the rest of my life, and everything else. Sure. You never know. We've seen it happen with Andrew Luck, who I'll have a comment on in a minute.
Right.
I think he's in 2 Super Bowls in 3 years or 4. Come on. And the records, you just project what would have happened. Now, if he loses this week, and then he decided to quit, now you got a different story because you got you got your ass beat by a guy that's only a few years younger than us. Okay. Who doesn't look that way, by the way. I had a little discussion with B. I can't believe him and Dick Clark, to me, something suspicious going on. They had facelifts and they tried to make sure everybody. There's no doubt in my mind Brady had a facelift somewhere.
You think so? You think so? Really?
I've never seen an Irishman over 35 that looked that good.
It is one of the reasons
Well, no, Kennedy didn't make it, I don't think. But I'm just saying.
Yeah, it is one of the reasons I dislike him.
Remember that dashing Irishman? Nobody says that. Nobody. Remember that maniac Irishman? Remember that crazy Irishman? Remember that nice Irishman? They say that. They never say, remember that handsome Irishman.
All right, let's talk some prop bets. I've picked out 6 that I think are going to be like integral parts of the game. So, and then I've got a bonus one. So let's start with this one first. It is the largest lead of the game. And these are according to a betting outfit called William Hill. They're saying,
I call him Billy. Billy was a good guy. Remember him in the neighborhood.
Oh, look at that. Okay. So he is saying the over is 14.5 for the largest lead in the game, minus 110. The under 14.5 minus 110. And for those people who don't know, Mike, explain what the minus 110
means. You just pay at bet 100, you lose up to 110.
Okay.
On each. So it's basically an even bet. I would lean, I don't want to, but I would lean somebody's going to be leading some point at the game by 14. So I would take, I'm just telling people what I would take if I bet all these prop bets. You can fade me if you want. I have no idea about these. It's not like my system. Okay. So, I'm going off what Aldo's telling me right now. First reaction. It's almost impossible for me to believe somebody's going to be leading somebody by 14. But if you look at a lot of the history of the Super Bowl, especially in the early years, there's been a lot of slaughters. Lately, not so many. I'll go with the over.
Okay.
14 or more.
I like the way you think there because I was thinking the exact same thing. Yeah. I do think that one team is going to get off to a big lead and then it'll be closer as the game goes on. But I did
like. We got 2 for over. Go the other way, folks. Me and Eldo's record is under 500.
That's right. Okay. We should tell people that.
Remember, we got to tell people that we're the We're Duran on the encore when the electricity goes out at the end. That's it.
That's hilarious. All right. The second one that I picked out for us is the longest made field goal in the game is over 46.5 or under 46.5. Both are at minus 110. And again, I picked this one out because I think long field goal attempts are going to be a story here. It's going to be the team could bypass it and go for it on fourth down.
So who do you like? We'll let you go first because I got mine down.
I'm going to say under because I think that they're going to go for it on fourth downs.
I'm with you on this. So, folks, remember, Aldo and I, our winning percentage of 41.8. Our winning percentage, I think, in life is about that also, but we do the best we can. Under 46 and a half for the field goal for both of us. I think we figured out a way for our listeners, all these great people, to come up with some winning bets here. Okay, next one.
And Ravi reminds us that the Bucks kicker is a guy named Suckup.
Yeah, and he tells us he's good. Listen, I landed on the number with the Packers. Crosby kicked the 46-yarder. The number was, I had the over under 46. I had the over, landed right on 46 in that game.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's good betting. That's good betting. The number 3 one that I've picked out, I think pass pressure is going to be huge. We know about the injuries the offensive line for the Kansas City Chiefs is facing. So total sacks by both teams, the over is minus 10, the under for minus 10. So
all right,
4
my
is the
turn.
magic number.
It's my turn. I'm taking the under because, I mean, Tampa alone got 5. All right. You figure that Brady's a sitting target.
Right.
Okay, for Kansas City. You
Right.
figure Mahomes doesn't have his tackles. You figure the over-under, and this should be 6 or 7. They're only making it 4. That means Brady gets rid of the ball quick. That means there's a lot of dump-offs. That means maybe Mahomes runs, when he's ready to get sacked, runs towards the hash marks.
Right.
I mean, folks, you want to know how savage football used to be? There was no such thing as I'm out of the hash marks, so now I'm going to throw the ball in the stands, and it won't be intentional grounding. You got your brains beat in. You had nowhere to run, and there was no such thing. If you threw the ball out of into the stands and you were on the field anywhere to avoid a sack, that was intentional grounding back in the day. That was a 15-yard penalty. I'm going the under 4. What are you doing?
I'm going the over. I think that there is a possibility that we could see a lot of sacks in this game because of the same reasons that you mentioned. But I don't think that the quarterbacks are going to be able to get rid of the ball as quickly. That offensive line of the Chiefs is suspect with these injuries, and we saw what the Bears did to Tom Brady. I think it could be 6-7 sacks total in this game.
Listen to my guy. Yeah, you got Jason Pierre-Paul. Jason Pierre-Paul. Listen, can I just say something? When he blew his hands off or his fingers off,
that's right.
All right. Yeah, really. I mean, when I saw that, you just got to pray it wasn't the right hand. Unless he's a natural lefty.
Like me. Oops.
Yeah, I'm not. I'm a righty. I lose my right hand. Most of my life's finished. Well, you just can't comb your hair right, as you can see.
Okay.
But Jason Pierre-Paul, I thought this guy was going to be done.
Yeah, me too. Yep.
What he's done. I really enjoyed watching the defensive line put 5. I mean, to sack Aaron Rodgers 5 times isn't easy. So listen to my guy, Quantas Motley. First of all,
that's Q from Cincy.
I love Q.
He's been following you for years, and he says that he's driving to Florida from Kentucky, listening to my favorite guys. Q, thanks for tuning in.
Driving from Kentucky anywhere's got to be something better. There's got to be something waiting for you. Don't tell Andy Furman that. Oh, by the way, Kentucky basketball, they suck this year. Good luck.
They do. My goodness.
And so does North. I mean, a lot of these teams, Michigan State, and we got a cornucopia.
Yeah, we've got.
I like this video thing.
This is fun.
We're getting a lot of action. We got a new sponsor. I didn't bring them up. Oh yeah, I did win. Yeah. Win Daily. WinDailySports.com. My guy.
And starting next week.
Starting next week, baby. Jason. Right. Well, tomorrow. Well, what's good about this deal is I'm going to be on Sirius on one of their shows. And I can promote the bar room. Nice. I can promote AM 1000. I'm going to be on for 15 minutes. and then we're going to do some other stuff. But they invested in us, so we got to give them a show. We
Very
give them a
cool.
show, though, don't we? Don't
We
give
make people laugh, and we give them some. We help them win money. Like you said, it's the best line I ever heard. Why should I be the only one making money?
Well, this week, why should be and I guess this week you could say, since I'm 2-5 this week, after being like 26-7, I'm
right.
hearing people going, "You're a little cold, Mike." I go, I never heard you're hot, Mike, from some of these people. From a lot of them, I did. The Lucky Cardinal Wagering Club, I call it on Twitter. But that guy, you know what he said? Here's what the guy said. I could tell one guy's a troublemaker on the team, on our team of people on Twitter that north to north that bet the same things. He goes, "Oh, you got lucky on that one, on a game that happened with the Bulls. Oklahoma City came back from behind."
Yeah.
Wait, this guy's taking my picks. Oh, you got lucky on that. And then I took Oklahoma City the other night. Got massacred. Custer asked me if I wanted help. Okay, you need a hand. This wasn't a bright move. Custer, okay? So he says, you need a hand. How could you walk into something like this? How could you take Well, the guy said to me, "Can I ask you what was on your mind taking Oklahoma City?" And I go, "Can I ask you?" I was Hans Gruber in Die Hard. I was Hans. You will never be seeing so-and-so for the rest of his life. When he's talking, I insta-blocked that son of a gun. We got rid of our cancer. But 2-5's not good. But I'm betting the picks. I don't need to hear it from somebody else. That I've made hundreds of dollars. Some guy said I paid for his car bill. Some guy said, "Mike, now I'm going to work on the old lady's car bill." I got to hear from this guy. What made you take Oklahoma City? What, are we going to do a documentary on bad beats? I tell Carmen the same. What's wrong with you?
I got my cable all screwed up. You got me laughing so much. Hold on a second.
You got a shirt that's 40 years old on, and cable's up your rear end. Aldo was like 10. He says, "Mom, can we buy that shirt?" 24. Super Bowl 20. I still got hats and stuff. We all got stuff from. I got my starter jacket.
You still have your starter jacket?
Listen, one night, true story. Me and Ditka were out. Got lit up.
I love it.
We went to his house. And Diana was there and stuff. He lived in Bannockburn at the time. And he says, "Hey, Mike, I'm going to get rid of some jackets." Because he was gone from the Bears. He gave me like 10, 12, 14 different Bear type of jackets or sweaters. Okay?
Wow.
I mean, and I gave some to charity. I think we auctioned one off on the station, and I kept a few of them. He autographed one for me, the one that he wore during the '85 season. Good guy. And but he wanted to get rid of some of the stuff,
Wow.
He had a nice spread out there too. Nice little place in Bannockburn.
I bet he
"Coach,
did.
where are we?" I lived in Chicago my whole life. He goes, "He's one Bannockburn." I go, "Where?" Sounded like an outpost for the Pony Express. It's like you have all these big you have all these big suburbs, Deerfield, Highland Park, and then there's like 3 houses. Bannockburn. Okay.
3 mansions.
Yeah, that's it. They got 3 mansions. OB, lives across the river. I don't know. Bannockburn.
All right, I got bet number 4, and this is there going to be a successful 2-point conversion in this game? Yes is a plus 195. I don't know why I got 4 there. That 4 should not be there. It should be yes plus 195 and no minus 230. So again, this means if you bet $100 on no, you win $230, correct? No, it's the other way around.
It's the other way around. In other words, if you say there's not going to be a 2-point conversion, then you got to bet $230 to win 100.
Gotcha.
So in other words, the handicapper is trying to tell us there's not going to be one. And if you think you're going to win double your money by saying yes, then you're crazy. And this might be where it's either a close game and you need the extra point. You can't afford to go for 2. Or it's going to be a blowout where going for 2 is not going to matter. Just kick the damn extra point. Let's kick off again or try an onside kick or something like that. But I would say, You got to lay 230 to win 100. If you got some couch change, if you got 100, put it on yes. Put it on yes.
I
And
say
win
there
195
is
maybe,
going
right?
to be one. I say there is going to be one,
Yeah, it
and you
seems
say
to me
no.
it would be too easy, right?
Go- Yeah,
get it?
I think that there just seems to be a trend towards going for it more with 2-point conversion. So I just think that's going to happen Sunday.
Yeah, you know what? That's a great prop bet. If you
That
got
is a good one.
here, you don't have to bet 100. You can bet 25. You'd win $50. You double
Exactly.
your money. That's it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
By the way, Ravi says that you hit the jackpot as
In
always.
what way?
Just
Oh,
in
with
your
my wife, with my life, with my wife, with my family, with my buddy Aldo, with a wonderful career. Both of us rising from the ash. Oh, yeah, damn right. I hit the jackpot.
not bad, huh?
Yeah, why not?
All right, I got another proper. Here
Okay.
it goes. Longest touchdown. Which team scores the longest touchdown? Kansas City minus 150, Tampa Bay plus 130.
I'll go Tampa Bay plus 130. Bomb to
I'm-
Evans. Bomb to Evans to start things off.
I got to
I mean,
go
it's
with
not like, it's like Tom Brady can do all this. Now, it's
Oh,
not
yeah.
just Mahomes against, like,
Mhm,
somebody else. Like Tom Brady can do all this.
mhm.
He's done all this.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know? So,
Yeah.
although I know that notoriously he gets off the slow starts,
That's right.
stay away from first quarter bets with him. He has
Mhm.
trouble getting going. The problem is then he gets going.
Right.
And that's the deal.
I like the Mahomes Tyreek Hill combination for the longest touchdown in the game. So I'm going to bet KC on this one. So now we've disagreed on 3.
Did you see where that kid, Scotty Miller, the kid that caught the bomb
Yeah,
against he said, I'm faster than Tyreek Hill.
he did say
Boom.
that.
He said
Ooh.
that, man. Because they called, who's faster? You were the cheetah. He goes, I guess I'm a weird guy. I could beat a cheetah. Okay, something like that. He says he ran a 4.340. Oh, by the way, I hear the Bears are looking at Patton. No, they got somebody else, didn't they?
No, they did get their defensive coordinator, but they're talking about the former defensive coordinator of the Packers, Mike Patton, as a special assistant.
The guy that got beat on the last play before the half.
Right.
With the bomb.
You know what? I wouldn't mind this so much because he knows so much about the Packers offense, and he would come in as Sean Desai, the new defensive coordinator. He would come in as his special assistant. So I don't know. I might be a kind of
I got a little theory. Would you like to hear one of my theories? I know
Absolutely.
you're all done, Mike. We're not winning the picks. You're not bringing anything new to the table. We're tired of hearing how you used to hang out with Harry Carey and you shared a dish of ribs. We're sick of the stories. Come up with something different.
Mike's theory.
My theory is this: who's the one quarterback that nobody's talked about? Who's the quarterback in the past? Who's the quarterback in the future? Who's a quarterback that could make Bear fans happy and maybe even make me scratch my head that this might be a good idea?
Ooh.
Is it Watson? No, he got his ass kicked this year by Mitch. Is it Stafford? No, he got his ass kicked this year by Mitch in his career. Is it Winston? No, Winston likes to give more than receive. Okay. What would you say if Andrew Luck came out of retirement and the Bears got him?
Wow.
It's a long shot, but I have heard nobody say this. I really believe sort of in my heart that he'll never look at a football field again.
Hmm.
He was having injury problems, but you sit out a year or two, you're Ryan Sandberg, you're Jordan, even you're Marshawn Lynch, and you come back. What would you think about that possibility, especially since, although I know he loves Mitch, the former head coach of the Colts was our former defensive coordinator. What do you think?
Well, first of all, I would love it. Of course. Absolutely.
Okay.
I do think, though, they would have to make a trade with the Colts because I do think that he is still property.
But you wouldn't mind having, what kind of trade would you make to get a guy that you was never going to play for your team again, who, by the way, was replaced by Phillip Rivers. Seriously. Phillip Rivers did the same thing this kid ever did.
Right.
Now, he'd have to retire under his contract, according to Jeremy Foyer.
Yeah, he would have to come back to Indianapolis because he retired under that contract. So he would go back to Indianapolis, and then you got to make a trade with the Colts.
Or you can retire and say, look, I'm never going to play for you again. But, yeah, I mean, the Bears throw in a draft pick or something. I mean, he hasn't played for a year.
Right.
Or two. How long's it been?
2 years.
Jacoby Brissett, Phillip Rivers, a couple of years? He's been gone a while. I don't like the way he left. I thought it was cheap when he walked off the field. I see. Now here goes Jeremy. See, right off the bat. We just got to drive. We can't just be normal and say maybe. I don't know. Can they see the questions up there or the statements?
Yes, they can. I would trade 3 first-rounders for Andrew Luck's term.
We just can't crawl along and try to figure out a nice, cheap way to get it. I'm going to give up 3 first-rounders for a guy that hasn't played for years, who quit on his team and basically is a fake. No, let's just try to get him for the cheapest. We want to give up fucking everybody.
That's exactly it.
Right? Look at Jeremy. I love you, man. He wants to automatically just cut our throats right off that. They're never going to get 3 first-rounders for Andrew Luck. You would never get it.
I doubt it. But you never know. This is a crazy league. I said the same thing about Matt Stafford. They traded what for Matt Stafford? It's
my God. But Matt Stafford's a functioning quarterback that's thrown for 40. This poor guy, this Luck guy, I want to go home. I didn't get my juice box. I'm going to go on the sidelines during the Bear game and just tell everybody to go screw off. I didn't like his departure, but see, now to me, that gives me more of a jolt than Jameis Winston or any of these other guys, you know? I mean,
I love the way you're thinking there. That's out of the box thinking. That is great thinking.
Well, you know what? I know this. Just read the Sun Times Saturday or Sunday. Somebody will come up with it and say they just thought of it in their dreams. That would be the one that would get me. Okay, Mitch, go somewhere else. I love you. I'll always follow your career. But Andrew Luck might be intriguing, but not 3 first rounds.
No.
The car hasn't been driven for 2-3 years.
That's right. It needs a new starter. It needs a new muffler.
It needs everything. The collaborator. What is it? Oh, no.
I don't know what
not
it
the
is.
Collaborator. Carburetor. That's it.
Carburetor. All right. Our last prop bet, and then we got a bonus one after this, is will this game go into overtime? Yes, plus 700. No, minus 1,300.
I'm not putting 1,300 on anything to win 100. But you could put 100 or 50 or 25 or 10 bucks to get that kind of that number. I mean, you put $10 down, you win 70.
Right.
So why not? Call your local DraftKings or whatever. Go $10. It goes into overtime. You won $70. $20. You know, you won 140.
I love the way you're thinking.
1,300. You got to be a degenerate. Well, I'm just saying. Oh, by the way, I know that we have these hotlines. I got a gambling problem. That's after the old lady yells at you, says you're a bum. You'll try to quit. You didn't mean to lose the $25,000 that was saved up for the addition to the house. You bet Cleveland, they didn't cover. So now you lost, so you're calling it. I want everybody to write down the list of anybody who's ever won. And even though we've lost this week, we won money, big money over the last 3 years. Nobody from the bar room said, has called a gambling hotline, because only the people that lose call those hotlines. The people that win, they go, I'm smart. The people that lose, I'm a degenerate loser. That's all. It's a fine line.
I never thought of it that way. You're absolutely right.
The truth. If you win, hey, what'd you win? I won $5,000 last week. How about you? I lost $2,000, but you gamble more than me. Don't you think you have a problem? No, I just paid off my mortgage. How about you? Well, I think I got a problem because you're a loser. You didn't listen to North and Gandia. Okay.
There you go. All right, here's our bonus question, our last prop bet. Who is going to be the Super Bowl MVP? Is it Patrick Mahomes? He's at minus 120. Tom Brady plus 190. Tyreek Hill plus 1,200. Travis Kelce plus 1,300. Or all others plus 2,500. Pick an MVP, Mike.
Man, I'll tell you what. It doesn't look like they believe in Brady.
No.
Mahomes is low money, though, to put down. See, they say to themselves, look, not many people will take Brady, but we'll get the small change people, $10 bettors, 20 to take Brady. I think the whales, the $1,000 better, 5,000, 50,000. There's people that bet six figures, folks, on stuff like this. Will take Mahomes because there's not a penalty. Minus 120. That's not to lose $20 out of every 100 isn't hard at all. It would be easy for me to take both. You know, put $100. You know, you're going to come out if Brady wins $90, no, $70 up. If you take Mahomes and Brady wins, you know, you get $70 more than if Mahomes wins, you lose some money, but not much.
One of the things I've learned about you in this
You'd
whole
win 20. You'd win. No, you'd be Tom Brady's plus 190. So
Right.
if he loses, you only lose the 100. You'd come out even because it was Patrick Mahomes minus 120 to win 100.
Oh, bet on both of them, you're saying.
Yeah, and if Brady wins, you win 70 on every 100.
There you go.
In other words, Mahomes is minus 120. You bet 100 on him. Let's say he loses. That's
Right.
$120 you lost. But if Brady wins, now Brady's got to win.
Right.
If it's somebody else, you're screwed. You lose both ends. But
Right.
if you take Brady, I mean, you got two quarterbacks. You'll win 190. 190 minus the 120, you win a $70 deal on every 100.
There you go.
I didn't do this much math in my whole 9 years. I say 9. It was supposed to be 8 at St. Gertrude's. Believe me when I tell you this. But the nuns gave me the basics about a lot of things.
One of the things that I've learned about you in this whole game of gambling is that you don't have to bet on everything. That's probably a bet that I would lay off of.
Well, I'll give you one. I mean, I'm hearing my guys, Mitch and Paulie. I turned them on. I watch about a half an hour of them on VS Vissen. Mitch Moss and Paulie Howard. I mean, this morning they were reading off the number of prop bets. You know, what's the chances that a player on the sidelines from Tampa Bay expels gas and somebody from Kansas City says who farted? What are the chances? Minus 120 plus. I mean, there's a prop bet for everything. Everything. You know, how many pieces of bacon did you have, and how many touchdowns will Tom Brady have? You know, will he throw 4 touchdowns like you had 4 pieces of bacon? I mean, you know, there's prop bets for everything. I remember when the big prop bet was the fridge, 35-1. Remember that
35 to 1?
35 to 1, I think it was. He was one of the first prop bets ever in 85.
Yeah.
To score a touchdown.
To score a touchdown. You're right. I remember that. Man, that would have been a great bet.
The rumor was that Ditka had it.
Oh, really? I had not heard.
I mean, you could believe that or not. There was never anything proven. But I would say this. Who controls who goes in and who goes out? And I'm sure that the coach at one time or another dropped a few dimes on a game back in the day. I don't know whether he's retired or not. So there was that rumor. Like let's say Ditka, which he didn't because I would have bet it, or maybe he didn't do this, but let's say Ditka says to me, hey, Mike, I might try to get the fridge a touchdown. And you see the prop bet's 35-1, and you hear that, you got to put it down.
Absolutely. Right
so
away.
If you're a family member or anybody, you know, and he says, I'm going to try to get the fridge in because I remember they stuck it to us. You know, I'm going to let everybody see the fridge go in. And I'll take Peyton out for a couple plays. And I'll call a play for the fridge. Right? And you're on the 1 yard line. And it's 30 or whatever it was. You made money.
Yeah, you made money, but you broke Walter Payton's heart. Yeah. I mean, that is what, and Mike Ditka is on record saying that his biggest regret as a football coach was not getting Walter his touchdown.
Well, I know people that are former Bears. There's a couple of them that thought they were surprised at Walter, that he's the consummate team player. that, hey, doesn't matter. But I knew Walter was a consummate team player, and there's certain things you'd like to do to just put a cherry on your career.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I think it's hard for me because I'll tell you this. I know Walter wants. I talked many times with Walter one-on-one. We're buddies. I know he wanted that. There's only one other instance. I told Carmen this on ESPN Friday night, that there was a guy named Freddie O'Connor, was a running backs coach for the Bears in Walter's first year or second year. And we did a show one day, and we talked about some of his biggest regrets. And he said sitting out the game, one game in his career. Jim Brown played every game. You know, he wanted to play every game as a running back. Jim Brown calls him the ultimate man. Jim Brown, I think, loves him more than any running back, you know, that he's ever seen. Outside of himself, maybe. Who knows? But if he's talking about other people. And I remember we talked about, oh, you missed the game. Yeah, had a bad ankle, but I think I could have played. I said, well, why didn't you? He says, because this running backs coach, Freddie O'Connor, went and cried to the Bears brass that he didn't want to be responsible for any further damage to my ankle. I think he was in his second year or first year. You can look up Freddie O'Connor, folks. Running backs coach for the Bears, old school. Maybe Aldo can bring him up.
Sure.
And he told me, I'm not a fan. I go, why? Because he stopped me from playing every game. And I told him, don't tell him I'm hurt. And Walter always had that deal. I'm not going to tell you. Don't tell people you're hurt. I see, when I hear football players saying I got this or I got that, you're asking for it. He never did. But Freddie O'Connor talked the Bears into doing it, and he didn't like Freddie O'Connor. You got him up there?
I can't find him. Let's see. Oh, wait a minute. I think I found him. It says here, Freddie O'Connor, former Chicago Bears running backs coach, coached under Jack Pardee. Yeah, there he is. Freddie O'Connor.
When people say, why did Aldo pursue you? Which is a lie, because he didn't. I pursued him. And they go, why do you? Because I give Bear fans a little history that people don't want to hear anymore. They don't want to hear history about anybody. It's about the Bears today, about we don't care. It's today. Forget about 5. No, that's a great story that hardly anybody knows about. Walter Payton hated Freddie O'Connor as much as anybody I've ever heard of. He wasn't a hateful man. He didn't like him. I should say that. I don't want to say that it was at a hate level, but he was not a fan.
Wow.
And by the way, I don't think Freddie O'Connor lasted too long after that.
Yeah. He went. He was moved to the Redskins shortly thereafter, according to
so long, everybody. Granny. He was Granny. No, Peyton was Granny for the Beverly Hillbillies.
Come on.
Hi, remember?
Yes.
You think when the Beverly Hillbillies, and for people, the Beverly Hillbillies, one of the great innovative shows in the 60s. When they're out, when they come and listen to a story of a man, and they come out and start waving.
Yeah.
How many takes? You think that was one take?
I think it was one long take. They told them do it, and they did it for 5 minutes. Yeah. Her hand was really tired when she did that.
She was like this, holding it up.
Yeah, exactly.
Buddy Epson was like this.
Oh, poor buddy.
and Max Baer was looking at Donna Douglas's tushy.
As was I.
Oh, yeah.
All right,
was
Mike.
with Elvis in a movie, Frankie and Johnny.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah. I watched the movie the other day with Elvis. Hear him, scare him.
Yeah.
The Colonel should be ashamed of himself.
Oh, yeah. You were going to mention something about the Colonel. What was that? Something before we go in on
discussing, that the greatest thing I ever heard about the Colonel. There was
again, just so people know, this was the guy who handled all of the Elvis Presley business.
He was a carnival barker.
Yeah.
I mean, there's the Searcher called Elvis 1 and 2 on HBO, and they explain it. But the best story I ever heard about the Colonel, Jerry Weintraub, who was an entrepreneur, Ocean's 11 with George Clooney, Brad Pitt, Jerry Weintraub, who outside of maybe Don Kirshner was one of the biggest rock promoters who ever lived. Well, Jerry Weintraub hears that Elvis is interested, the Colonel, they're going to start doing some dates, some concerts outside of, in the United States. And Weintraub calls the Colonel. There he is. Look at this guy. Weintraub calls the Colonel every day for a year, and he never gets back to him. One day, there's a phone call. Weintraub said, my number's such. Every time, please give me a call. I got an idea about you and Mr. Presley, blah, blah, blah. So he's walking out his office door, and the phone rings. How you doing? It's the Colonel. He goes, I just think I want to handle your concert business. We can fill every stadium. And he goes, you think so? And he goes, I know so. So that's how Weintraub got started. They booked Elvis in stadiums or basketball arenas, what have you. That's huge. Now, the Colonel goes, hey, we should do a matinee. Now, nobody in their right minds, for the most part, but back then they did. You could go see the Rolling Stones on a Saturday afternoon at Soldier Field. They had matinee, daytime stuff. And Leonard Skinner in Oakland, watch that concert. It was packed. It's daytime. But the Colonel wanted to do a daytime concert in Miami, indoors, in the arena. So Weintraub says, okay, I'll try it. But he said, if you don't fill every seat, this was the prerequisite, I could fire you. If you don't fill every seat from the beginning of their contract, and they always did.
Right.
They're 5,000 seats short of selling out. It's a daytime thing. It's Miami, and it's indoors. It's summertime. But the Colonel wanted. So now he's in trouble. Weintraub there was a prison 2 miles away. He called the prison. And he said, can we get some people to help us pull the seats out that aren't sold?
Pull the seats out, not fill them. Pull them out.
Pull the 5,000. Well, they sold a couple thousand more tickets, but it still was daytime. So they had 3,000 left. He pulls the other 3,000 out, put them in a tarp in the parking lot, and they had full house. And at the end, they had a deal already constructed. Colonel Parker comes in with 2 suitcases. This is how archaic Elvis's guys were. 2 suitcases, lays it on the table, opens them up, lets cash all up the side on the table.
Nice.
And he goes, what's this? He goes, the concessions we made today. He goes, well, I wasn't involved in the concessions. Hey, you've done a good job, boy. He says, we got to figure out how to split this. How much of a split you want? He goes, whatever you want to give me. The Colonel takes his cane, hits the middle of the table. The money goes this way and that way.
Wow.
Take that side and I'll take that side. True story.
That
and Jerry Weintraub, from there, Jerry Weintraub went to the top of the game.
That's amazing story.
How about that?
That is amazing. Boom. Colonel Tom Parker and Jerry Weintraub, two of
I
music.
hope nobody dozed during that long rendition of a story. I'm not exactly Mark Twain.
Oh, outstanding. All right, Mike, we are going to be here on Sunday with a very special Barfly Tailgate show. I hope you can join us for 10 minutes and talk a little bit about the game prior and tell us who you picked on your ESPN show. So I'll send you
details. We got to give out our pick. I got a pick.
Oh, let's do it, baby.
Yeah.
Let's do it. Now, hold on. Let me play the music.
Why am I going to regret this?
I don't know why. I forgot.
Why did I just sneak away when I could?
Yeah, baby.
Yeah, come on now. Aldo was ready to just let you go. Okay.
All right, Mike. Every week gives us some picks. We got through some prop bets, but this is where the real money comes in.
This
right,
is
Mike?
where the money comes in or doesn't. Last week, 1-2. Could have easily been 2-1. Had a guy make a layup with 6 seconds left. Giannis just shoots the ball up by 10. Usually they dribble the ball out. It didn't work out. Sometimes you need luck in gambling. We're going to learn. You don't win every week, folks, but you got to just be consistent, ride out the storm. Last night, for instance, I was 1-4 in my last 5 bets, and I win the last bet of the night. It's huge. It stopped me from having a 5-game losing streak. I won 1, lost 4. Now I got my confidence back, because your confidence does dip a little bit. It's going to be over 200, minus 200, but take the Philadelphia Flyers plus 1.5 goals. It's an early hockey game today. Take them plus 1.5 goals, ladies and gentlemen. And I got a golf bet. Okay, there's golf. The Waste Management Open, which used to be a Maniac type of Open with all the people cheering and everything else. There's a guy named Harris English that I would take. He's plus 250 to make a top 10. Harris English had a bad sort of collapsing outing last week. Take Harris English. And if you bet 100 and he finishes in the top 10, you have the chance to win 250. Eldo, back to you.
Harris. Oh, I misspelled Harris. It's not with
right.
an O. It's with an
Harris
I.
English, Harris. Yeah,
There it
he
is.
Take him.
Take Harris English and make sure you let people know about the Mike North Advantage. We're here every Wednesday, and Mike will always have some money-making tips for you, and we'll have lots of laughs. All right, Mike, I will see you on Sunday on our very special Barfly Tailgate show, and people
What time will that be about? I got to, I got to take my
10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, whatever time
you
you
need
want.
my teeth pulled in? Do you need my teeth in Japan?
No.
You just call me, right?
I will definitely call you.
Oh,
Absolutely.
I'll have
And then
a
make sure you listen to Mike on ESPN 1000's The Odds Couple. He and Carmen DeFalco, also more money-making tips. Look at this guy. Oh, Sylvie Strong, my man. So I think that's it for today. Let's say goodbye to people. Mike, take it away.
Everybody, on behalf of everybody at the bar room, we love you. We need you. And please be patient. We're going to be winning games. We're going to be doing a lot of things coming up over the next year. Aldo, love you, buddy. I'll see everybody.
Love you too, brother.